This is the Spurs Postcast, your instant game reaction for the San Antonio Spurs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, on the day he was named an all-star starter and an all-star for the second time this season, Victor Wembanyama doing everything to live up to that label. As I guess you could say, bald Wemby so far, the mythical creature that it is, has opened on quite the heater. Welcome into the Spurs Postcast right here on Locked On Spurs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network in all of the world. A good afternoon for your San Antonio Spurs. Matinee today on MLK Day and taking care of business against the Utah Jazz, closing out the homestand on a perfect 3-0 note. He, of course, is NBA champion Devin Brown. My name's Casey Viera, my friend. Good opportunity for these guys to keep up the good vibes, especially on the day that we honor Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah, definitely. Casey, let me tell you, the city of San Antonio, I went to the march this morning. Great job hosting it. Just fantastic all the way around. Had a great time doing that, Casey. Just want to let everybody know that. Hey, now let's talk some Spurs basketball.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, well, the Jazz, not particularly, at least record-wise, known as world beaters, but came in 14 games under 500. But one of those wins was a couple weeks back against the Spurs, which essentially they blew them out. San Antonio looked awful. They got killed on the three-point line, but their star, Lauri Markannen, out today due to an illness. And from the jump, it kind of it was not the Jazz team that came in here the other day. It stirred up issues, and right from the start, you could tell that it was looking like it was going to be a good day for San Antonio. Victor jumps out, of course, coming off a 39-point performance. He comes out with 13 points right off the rip, knocking down triples. They go up by 8 after 2 quarters of play. But in fairness to the Jazz, to start the second, they're known as a little bit of a scrappy team, and they do actually take the lead. But ultimately, 9 more points from Victor. It puts the Spurs back up by 4 at the break. It was a very smart, very efficient game, very well-played game for the San Antonio team. You know, you try to navigate something to nitpick what it was, and the start of the third quarter, just efficient offense, doing everything they needed to, smart plays, nothing that blowing you out of the water. And ultimately, that edge goes up to 16. And same type deal at the back end of the fourth quarter, start of the fourth quarter, should say. And they got some big-time contributions. The notable parts, obviously Victor's the notable part, but even more so notable because we don't particularly talk about it, but we will a little bit more in a second. The Rooks really spearheading the early part of the fourth that turned it from a competitive game to a blowout. Some back-to-back big dunks from Harper and Carter Bryant, who played really well tonight. Really turning the tide for the better. Ultimately, it reads to a 123-110 win. Wemby, 33-10, 2 blocks to go along with 7 3-pointers made. Collectively, they go 16 of 38. Castle, 18-8. Fox, 14, 5-8, 7 players in double figures. Just a matter of going out there and doing everything they needed to do, and they did. And part of the reason they end the night winners.
Yeah, so today was a revenge game. You could see that early with Coach Mitch. He was very animated the first, 9 or 10 possessions. Yelling at a couple of different players to pick it up, get going, next play, things like that. But all in all, Victor, 33-10, a huge part of what San Antonio did tonight. 55% from the field. You'll take that every night. 16 made threes, like you said. Hey, starting to shoot the ball coming out of that slump. Harrison Barnes got back to work. And a number of other players. But all in all, Casey, it was the ball movement. It was getting consecutive stops that led to the Spurs opening this game up.
Yeah. No, they did. They did a good job of it. Champagny 13, Barnes had 10, Carter Bryant with 11, and Dylan Harper with 15 points, 3 boards, 5 assists. Victor played 26 minutes tonight. I liked about it was that after the Jazz made their run in the second quarter, it felt like, all right, well, now we're good. Now we kind of lock down, and now we kind of focus on the task at hand, and we take care of business. And we had this little folly, if you will, to let you get back into the game. And now it's on us to take away, take things away from here and put your foot on the gas. And that's what they did. But a credit to a guy who stayed ready and was very ready when his number was called, Carter Bryant. We mentioned him, really the X factor about and how things turned for the better right at the start of that second quarter.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
Again, 11 points, 4 or 5 from the field, and 14 minutes of work. That's 11 is a career high for Bryant. What I liked was the fact that you haven't seen him so far get extended minutes as a result, a byproduct of the good things that he's doing on the floor. More so, he's out there. It's kind of matchup based. He makes a quick cameo, 5 to 7 minutes, then that's the last you see of him. It feels like tonight it was a matter of him actually making an impact and Mitch rewarding him from it. And it felt good. You felt happy for him because, crowd was chanting his name too, had a couple big dunks. Another one that, like I said, the front end of the fourth quarter that really took the team off or turned it into a blowout mode. It's been a up and down kind of month for Carter Bryant. Hasn't played great, gets sent down to Austin for a game, plays okay there, comes back, and you like to see it. You like to see it that he's learning from these experiences, always staying ready. And today he pretty much bared the fruit of that labor.
Yeah, well, he's got 2 vets there in Harrison Barnes and Keldon Vassall. You can see him talking to him a lot too. He's got some guys around him that want to see him have a lot of success in this league, and he will. And so one of the things that was big tonight, his 7 points in the second quarter, the dunk, he made it 3, shot it with confidence, attacked the rim, made a couple good passes. You like seeing all those things. Now, there's a big difference when you have Wemby, playing out alongside of you and you're trying to succeed as opposed to Cornette. I'm not taking anything away from Cornette, but,
Right.
It just seemed like that combination with Wemby behind Bryant kind of let him let loose tonight, and he was phenomenal in the minutes that he played.
Right. Speak to being a rookie or a player in the very, very early stages, the infancy of his career. A guy who can't find consistent minutes, a guy who essentially is living on every play to a certain extent, knowing that. And the idea of staying ready and knowing that your number is probably going to get called, but it might not on some nights. And then the other way around, you're not expecting to get your number called, and there you go. You're in the game in the second quarter matching up with Anthony Edwards or something like that. How does someone, a youngster, a rookie, first, second year in the league, knowing that he has such little margin for error like that, in your spot that you were like that as well? Speak to that. How does a player handle that being a pro?
Well, it's one of those things where, you always have to stay ready. Everybody knows that. You got to be the first one to practice, the last one to leave. A lot of people know that as well. But what it is it's your opportunities to come at any time. It can come early in the first quarter. It can come fourth quarter, second quarter. You just got to be ready to go. And, one of the things that you catch yourself doing in a situation like that is you're out there trying to not make a mistake. You make one mistake, you may get yanked. All right, you may not get that second opportunity. So it's tough. It's a tough situation. But like I said, you have to rely on your vets. And I had a vet speak to me about that wasn't on our team, but he's an old San Antonio Spur, Johnny Moore. Johnny Moore pulled me aside one day at a golf tournament, and he said, "Young fella, be comfortable out there. You can play. You can play at that level. When you get out there and you play and you feel like you're playing in a pickup game, you've arrived." That didn't happen for me until like my 3rd or 4th year in the league. All right. But that was big that he said that, because it was something that I always thought about, and I still think about it now, and I'm sharing that with everybody now.
Right.
So for Carter Bryant, you just have to be ready to go. Go out there, give everything. Go out there and want to guard the other team's best player, and that's how you'll make your mark in this league.
You think tonight is the type of night that can do that?
Well, yeah, if you look forward and, you got that guy KD over there that likes to draw fouls, you may get your number called tomorrow
That's
night.
part of the reason. That's part of the reason. Yeah, I was going to pivot to exactly that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, with that, when you're looking forward like that, yeah. So this could lead him on a way to that. But at the end of the day, it's Kevin Durant, it's
Mhm.
Devin Booker, it's Anthony Edwards. It's this list that goes on and on and on and on. And so all he can prepare for, he had a great night tonight. All you can prepare for is being ready for your number to be called against Houston.
I find it so interesting with him because, and it goes to show you, talking about that margin of error for like how good you show something very quickly. If you don't particularly show it, you might be sitting on the bench for a little while. Like, think about where we were maybe 2 weeks into the season, whenever that game was where they played Denver, and he got matched up for maybe like a minute in game time, but figure like 3 possessions against Jokic, and he got the stops. And I think at that point, a lot of us, we were just kind of taking the bait, the immediacy. We're like, oh, this dude's ready to get into the rotation just like that.
Yep.
And subsequently, I don't think he made an impactful play between then and then getting sent down. So that's what I like about it too. It goes to show you that, and this is something that we interviewed him, Jeff and I, at Media Day. And one of the takeaways that I took away from Carter Bryant was the level of maturity. And you know how like you sometimes meet people and you can tell they just get it, just get it. They're not these off-centered, centric personalities. You wonder, you're like, maybe I'll give them another chance and have another conversation before placing a label. What I liked about him was that you could tell he got it. Just life as a whole, not only Spurs basketball, but just life perspective. A real mature kid at only 19 years old. So to see him bounce back like this, I'm happy for him. Will it mean per se that he's going to get consistent minutes the rest of the way? I don't know. I mean, all it takes is one slip up tomorrow against Houston, right? And then you're right back in the grind.
Yeah, you're right back second guessing yourself and, back to the drawing board, as they say. But yeah, with him, it comes down to just a couple of things. Being that energy guy, and when you're open, knocking your shot down. Of course, attacking the rim is his game. But I'm talking about that swing, and he's in the corner, and it's that one you're just standing there all by yourself.
Yep.
Right? Because they're letting you shoot because you got to prove that kind of thing. When you start doing that, when you knock those shots down, that's when more minutes come. And that's what happened tonight. He hit that 3 early, and, they rewarded him with more minutes. Coach Mitch, believed in him, which is great. And it led to a fantastic night out of him.
Yeah, he looked real, like he belonged. He looked like he belonged tonight, and it's a testament to the job that he's done. And as a result, he gets Kevin Durant. As a result, that's what he gets. But you know what? That's what you live for, right?
That's what you live for.
You won your minutes, and then you got matched up with Kobe over there. So, but that's
absolutely,
that's what you live for. So, all right. On the topic of KD, obviously he and the Houston Rockets are on deck tomorrow. Not the easiest of back-to-backs. Other side of the break, we'll hit on that matchup a little bit because first time in a long time, Spurs and Rockets not only good but really good in the Western Conference. So we'll hit on that and a little bit more coming up here on the Spurs Postcast on Locked On Spurs, following a 123-110 victory to move the Spurs to 30-13 on the season. But before we do, let's have a conversation about game time. Might be something worth considering if you're thinking about getting last-minute tickets to drive a few hours out for said Spurs Rockets game in Houston. And if you do that, one thing that's kind of the constant wherever you kind of go direction to get it, you don't like a few things. The fact that you might have to wait on these waiting screens. You're not sure what the tickets are going to cost on your way out the door because of all these fees. I got a suggestion where to go. You want to go to Game Time because it's an app that gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. So take all that guesswork out. Get rid of it and buy your NBA tickets through Game Time. How do you do it? Well, you download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. As always, apply. Again, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. Also want to have a conversation about our friends at FanDuel and something to keep an eye on, as I know we're only at the start of the week, but for Friday, why not? We're always thinking basketball. Every Friday night before games tip off, FanDuel is giving fans a new way to start the weekend. They got this thing called NBA Happy Hour, your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers, they drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action even starts. 6 to 7:30 Eastern time is what you're keeping an eye on, because obviously right at the start of the games. You pop open the app during happy hour, they got plenty of chances for you to make even more money. Get even more, a couple bucks, boost bonuses, a whole lot of surprises. So again, before tip off, open the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday, 6 to 7:30 is what you're looking for. NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Good win tonight for your San Antonio Spurs, getting back on the right side of things, continuing being on the right side of things, I should say. 3-game winning streak, perfect homestand. It's amazing how it feels like we kind of write these narratives about these teams struggling in these big games, because a week ago, going into the homestand, they had that awful Minnesota loss. But now we're like, 3 dubs in a row. We're back in business here.
Yeah.
That's 82 games for you. All right, the next game, obviously, Houston. Second meeting between the two squads this year. The first all the way back in November. National TV game. Fantastic game. In many respects, kind of felt like a little bit of a coming out party at the start of the year, because they had the 5-0 start. We're like, yeah, we're feeling pretty good about these guys. But we might need a little bit more to make us believe. And that was a fantastic basketball game, and one that the Spurs got on the better side. Task does not get any easier now, going back out to the Rockets' place. What are you keeping an eye on this go-around, maybe that we learned from the first go-around between the two squads?
Well, obviously, KD playing at a high level, and the physicality. What Adams and Sengun are going to do with Wemby. They're not going to let him come out there with all that highlight stuff. They're going to put him on the ground a couple of times. And I want to see how he reacts, how his body reacts to things like that. And I want to see if the Spurs can go on the road and shoot the 3 like they did in this 3-game homestand. That's going to be big as well. And just how Mitch is going to mix it up as far as the lineups and things like that, because you can get away with some of the lineups that Mitch has been doing. He did a good job in the homestand.
Yeah.
But now this thing goes on the road. Your trust goes a little bit. You start trusting people a little bit less. So how he's going to handle that in a close ball game. And so that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, actually, they might catch a break here too, because last night, Sunday night, Steven Adams, believe it or not, actually got hurt. So it's looking like the Spurs are probably going to catch a break on that front. Another one of these big bodies that San Antonio or that Wemby doesn't have to deal with. No, I agree with you. That's always been the thing. Sengun always gets up for Victor, no matter what. He's always given Victor a hard time. But I think that 3-point shooting, if I'm not mistaken, all 3 games of the homestand, they went over 40%, which is fantastic, because for the prior 10, they hardly cracked a third of their threes. But it kind of goes to show you the ebbs and flows of being a streak shooter, right?
Yeah.
And what they're doing right now collectively. But the Victor heater is something to keep an eye on, because we've associated him as a good 3-point shooter, but not like great. Enough to stretch the floor, but not enough to be labeled in the conversation of the Currys of the world. I mean, who is? I'm really interested to see how that translates against a physical team like this, because it translated very well in the Minnesota game, where down in crunch time, it didn't matter. I mean, he was big bucket after big bucket, regardless who with those guys who were matching up against him. But this is one of the better stretches of these back-to-back 30-point games that we've seen with Vic, even dating back to last year. And it's encouraging, because we hadn't really, it felt like we were just kind of void of that Vic performance over a good playoff team for a little while. Maybe it was the injuries, maybe not. But it's always encouraging having Victor on your side. But I think now even a little bit more so, you feel better about it.
Well, the thing about tonight, which made it so funny, is after he hit a couple, he knows what Norkic wants to do with him. He wants to get down there and wrestle with him and all that kind of stuff because he has 6 fouls and he doesn't, really care about anything else, right? So when Victor hit those 2, he said, you know what, not tonight. You're going to have to catch me from out here. And he got hot and he hit a few. But, for me tonight, Victor is very smart about how he played. And, it's just funny because I believe he was setting that up for tomorrow night as well.
Yeah.
You'll see Vic, take some threes. And if he hits a couple, then you're going to get the all-star, Victor. And he'll continue playing well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting what happens tomorrow, Casey.
On the day he's named a Western Conference All-Star starter along with Luka, SGA, Curry, Jokic, if Jokic is available. That's to be determined. This is actually interesting. And it might speak to maybe Anthony Edwards actually getting a shot in the starting lineup. But he and Victor were tied in terms of the coach voting for it. And what they do, the tiebreaker, they use the fan voting for it. That's essentially to determine, who gets the final edge. And Victor got it. But that said, they were only 6th and 7th in the votes in the Western Conference, the fan vote. I'll give you a guess as to who was number 5. And it wasn't Luka, Shea, Curry, and Jokic. I'll give you a guess to who was number 5 in the fan voting.
I don't have a clue.
Denny Avdia.
Oh, you serious?
Denny Avdia.
So the NBA stepped in again?
Yeah, right.
Well, no, I say that because back when Yao Ming was playing, he was so popular in China that they had like 10 of the 15 guys on the roster starting and as reserves. They were voting so much. Right. And the NBA stepped in and was like, that's not going to happen.
Well, no, that's what happened with T-Mac and Iverson at the back end of their runs too. I mean, T-Mac was playing like 15 games and still getting voted in. Iverson, I mean, to their credit, they built that label to get to that point. But to each their own. Yeah, Denny Avdia got more West votes than Victor and Anthony Edwards. So go figure. All right. Next time we're doing this little get together, obviously tomorrow. We're going to do it after Spurs Rockets, talking about a big one, an important one, and another chance for the Spurs team to show why they belong in the Western Conference. Excited to talk about that, of course, once things go final. And as always, be sure to start the day with Jeff on the title pod here on Locked On Spurs, just like you always do. You guys make it fun. You're the everydayers who drive this program and the reason we love what we do. And a good reason that you love the end result for the Spurs tonight. 123-110 winners over the Jazz, closing the homestand on a high note and off to the road for Houston. So for my good pal over there, Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown, I'm Casey Viera. Talk to you guys tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.